Hey guys, it's Chris T, and today we're going to be trying out Artemis watercolor paints. So this is a collection of handmade watercolor paints that I just recently bought. I've never actually tried out handmade watercolors, and I was super interested to try it, and I thought this would be a great time to do so. So unfortunately, I don't have the box that this came in anymore. Once it got to my house, my sister was like super nosy and wanted me to show her, so I went ahead and let her see the inside and threw the box away because this is a few days later. But I still have the paints and I still haven't unpackaged anything yet, so we'll still be able to see all of that. So pretty much what came in the box, it was this and some tissue paper, and this was tied in a cute little bow. Artemis Paints also sent me this cute little poem. I'm not gonna read it right now, but it's very, very cute. And she also sent this little note saying, during this stressful time, I think it's more important than ever to reflect on the beauty in the world. Sometimes life or circumstances pulls our attention away from the simple pleasures of life. The words of one of my favorite poems have been coming to me lately, and I wanted to share them with you. The poem was super cute, so I really appreciated that. It also came with this beautiful sticker. I just absolutely love this. And I don't know where to put it yet because I usually put these stickers on my sketchbook, but I'm using a sketchbook right now that doesn't take stickers, I should say. So not sure where I want to put this, but I'm going to keep it until I have the perfect spot for it. And then of course it also came in this cute little set. So I'm on the website right now, and this was the mystery palette set, which was super interesting. I never got like a palette sent to me that someone designed themselves or picked together. So I'm on the website right now. If you wanted 5 paints, it is $25. And it looks like right now she's all sold out of the 10 paints and 15 paint sets. I got the 10 paint set. So this cost me $50. And I believe there wasn't any shipping. Yeah, so it was just $50. Shipping was already taken care of, I guess because it was over 50. I'm not sure what the cutoff for that is. So I bought the paints, and because I was buying the paints, it came with this tin can or this tin holder for free, which I thought was super nice. And you can pick between either this pink cover or a purple cover. So I of course chose this beautiful pink color. And here are the paints, and it has this cute little swatch sheet that I'm gonna go ahead and test them out on. It also came with this cute little pipette to activate the waters. I actually don't own something like this right now, so I absolutely love this because I actually could use this for my regular watercolors and of course for these. So let's go ahead and look at the paints that we got here. And it looks like we got a few shimmery shades and a few just like regular watercolors. So let's go ahead and open these up and see them. Okay, so that is all 10 of the paints. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch these real quick and then we can kind of see what they are. But first, let me go ahead and activate these with a bit of water. Okay, so this is all of the colors pretty much swatched out. I kind of would like to see how dry this one has a lot of water in it. Ugh. But yeah, I think this purple is doing an interesting thing. It seems like it's kind of like black around here, but just straight up without any added water, that purple is stunning. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, I wonder if this paper will function any differently than the paper that I typically use to paint with. So I'd have to see how that looks on a different surface with the water combined. But overall, I really like these colors. I kind of would have liked to have gotten the 5 paints just because it would have been a nice limited palette to work with. But of course, I couldn't help myself from getting 10, especially because it was only $50 for 10 paints with the tin and the pipette. Like, I feel like you can't go wrong with something like that. I don't know. I think that was a really good deal. But let's see if we can kind of create something and use all of these paints, or almost all of these paints, in an illustration. So I'm gonna go jot some things down and then I'll get back to you when it's time to paint. Okay, we are back and it is mysteriously the next day, but for you guys, it is just a moment later. So after I got off camera, I realized some things and I just wanted to come back and talk about that real quick. So I ended up making another swatch sheet. I don't know, I just wanted to retry the colors on paper that I would use, which is funny because this is not the paper that I'm using for the artwork that I'm doing today. but I did just want to retry it all just to see how it would be on paper that I typically use, because I'm not entirely sure what this paper is. And I wanted to see if I could get a little bit brighter, a little bit darker, and a little bit bigger, which you can obviously see here. So when I did the second swatches, I learned a few things. Pipestone, which was one of my favorites when we did these swatches, there's a little bit of like granulation. It's hard to explain if you can't see it. There's like tiny little debris or just fine rocks or whatever is used to make the paints, I guess. Pretty much like if it wasn't ground completely to a smooth, very fine powder, as if there was still just a few of the rocks left. And that kind of saddens me. I was doing some color testing for the painting that I'm gonna do, and I didn't quite like that texture. I mean, I'm still gonna use it, of course, because I love the color. It just kind of sucks because I wanted to use that for a skin tone. So it just won't be smooth, but it's okay. We'll just kind of call it like she has freckles. Shelby was the other one that we talked about back when we swatched it here with that weird black gray thing going on. So I swatched it again and I put water again, and it did the same thing. It's as if whatever this is mixed with, it has black undertones, which I totally understand. I get that that's something that you'd mix it with. Wisdom also has those black undertones, but for some reason I feel like with Wisdom, it kind of blends a bit more smooth, as in it looks a bit nicer. The shine and the sparkle on Wisdom is a bit nicer, so that one doesn't bug me too much. But it does kind of bug me with Shelby, because when I added the water, the purple seemed to scatter out, and we didn't get a lot of that. And then the purple, where I use it straight from the tin, is of course beautiful, but it's just really, it'll be tricky to work with if I do include that color, because it does that. And let me actually show you where I wanted to test these again. I tried it on this paper, and this is just regular printer. Oh no, this is actually my sketchbook paper that I ripped out of the sketchbook. So this is not meant for watercolor at all, but I did want to test some of the colors. So I did add in that block of this purple, and I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's very black. And when I try to get that shine of the glitters, there's not that much purple in there. So that's a little bit disappointing. I was really excited about that color because it looks stunning, but it's going to be a bit more tricky to work with, possibly, unless I use it straight up as thick as I possibly can. So even though these two, I feel like I'm kind of iffy about because of the way they were turning out with the swatches, I still really like all the rest of the colors. I think Buff Tita really blends well, and it just has a very smooth gradient when I added the white. Also Quinn Red and Ursa Major, and even Dagny. I don't know why that star thing happened. This is probably just a me error in how I applied the water, but even still, I really love this color. Magic Blue has just been stunning this entire time. You don't have to do anything, honey. You are stunning. This is also a really nice color. So overall, there's just two that I'm kind of like questionable about. But I feel like when you get a mystery palette, you'd always get probably one or two colors that you just didn't like. And I actually like all of the colors, so that's nice. I mean, if I would have gotten a green, that would have been beautiful. But we still really like all of the colors. We're just kind of like sad about Shelby specifically, but it's okay. So with these colors, I did make a sketch. I did make a few ideas and went with one that I liked. So what I will be painting is this over here, if I can get it into the frame nice and properly. So this, yeah, so I'll probably zoom out a little bit so you can see. This is what I'm going to be painting. And this was the idea that I had, inspired by these paint colors. I don't know. It's a girl in a hood wearing some scratchy clothing underneath. And I don't know if she's stealing or if she just fell in love with the magic of this monkey statue. Props to anyone who knows where this monkey statue is from. I might say it at the end, but I'm not going to say it right now. But props to you if you know exactly where I stole that from. And then in the background, I just made all these different paintings. And I didn't fill it in because I don't know what I want to do. I might just fill it in with like blocks of color and outline it after. So without further ado, let's switch this over to a speed paint and get to that final result. Okay, so first things first, in this illustration, I am using Arch's brand watercolor paper. It is hot press, 300 GMs and 140 pounds. So I just wanted to talk about all of this that's going on. This painting was a lot like teeth pulling in that I did not enjoy a lot of it a lot of the time. Unfortunately, it wasn't really the paints, I don't think. I think a lot of it was more so me and just committing a lot of mistakes that I know better, but for some reason was just doing the mistakes anyways. For example, I never use paint straight from the tin. I always dilute it with a little bit of water, but for some reason I just wanted these colors very dark because I wanted it to seem like nighttime and dark and deep. So I used a lot of these colors straight from their little tins, and you're not supposed to do that with watercolors because it typically doesn't go on very well. It's just not a good idea because watercolor is supposed to be transparent. So when you're using it very thick like that, you can run into the issues of reactivating it when you go over that area again, and just the colors not looking as vibrant and beautiful as watercolors should. Another mistake I think was my paintbrush. Unfortunately, I don't currently have any bigger paintbrushes that are also a decent size. So the paintbrush that I was using, I don't think holds a lot of water, and I think that really hurt me here because this paper is a bit bigger than paper I'm typically working with. And for the background, I ran into an issue with where I was painting it. It just kept getting very streaky as I went along, and that was very frustrating because I was like, what is going on? I felt like the paint was drying very fast, and again, that just might be not enough water in my brush or not enough water on the paper. Okay, so here's the final piece, and although there were some things that I didn't like about it and I had to kind of go off camera to see if I could fix some things, I do overall kind of like how it came out. I really like how I got this glowing effect in here. That was something I really wanted to do, and I think it does show this idea that it's glowing. And if you haven't guessed already, this little monkey dude is from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I remember seeing it and just thinking he was a cute little thing, and Iroh thought so, so I wanted to include that in this picture. It just came to mind. And I also like how the paintings came out in the background. They look very ominous. So in terms of the colors, I did use every single color except for Magic Blue, which is kind of sad because I really liked Magic Blue. It just didn't fit with the overall look that I was going for. And even though the purple I've been saying has been giving me issues, the Shelby color, I was able to use it for these paintings, and the black kind of worked to my effect because it is supposed to be darker, it is supposed to be further in the background. So overall, kind of happy with how that came out, and every single color except for blue I used in this picture, so I'm proud of that. I'm glad that I was able to really stick to the color palette, not use any other colors, and use strictly that. Of course, I know what I would change in the future if I were to do this project again. But overall, I did like the paints. I like how they came out. I like how this came out. So thank you guys so much for watching. And if you like this video, please consider subscribing for more content. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.